Sir, is it audible, sir? Or
Yes, madam.
okay.
Know how to build on what's come before. Innovators like Edison, Franklin, and the Wright brothers added the finishing touches after a long line of contributions from many other people. There's actually a structure that helps them do it, the patent system. A patent is basically an official stamp of approval from the government that says you came up with an idea. Because of patents, an inventor can openly talk about their idea while still having it protected. By making it safer to share ideas, patents can lead to new inventions that change our lives. IBM received more than 9,000 patents in 2017, by far the most ever in one year by any company, and they've led the US in patents for 25 straight years. So what did they patent in 2017? Well, do you ever worry that there are certain hazards a self-driving car just can't handle? One of IBM's latest ideas constantly evaluates whether the self-driving vehicle or human driver is better suited to drive in a given situation. It could then automatically turn control over to the human driver, helping prevent accidents. What about the hazards we face online? One of IBM's newest patented AI technologies helps prepare for those threats by diverting hackers' attention away from you. That's not the only way that IBM is working to help AI serve us better. In fact, over the last 6 years, IBM received more than 5,000 patents in AI and cognitive computing. These advances are made possible with patents because patents make it safe for inventors to collaborate. That's how companies like IBM can take advanced technologies and turn them into something that can improve our everyday lives. Share this video if you think more people
I just wanted to give some background, like how patents will evolve. In that example, it says the autonomous car, how advancements are happening in autonomous car, because there will be some software behind the screens that make it possible, right? So I just wanted to give that glance. And now let's see some stories like how patents evolved or what are the learnings. This is a small story. Donald Duck, you might be feel surprised why Donald Duck comes in invention part, but let's see this story. This is an image where in 1964 the freighter uh, capsized at the docks in Kuwait harbor. It's like broken and sort of sinking. The ship was carrying 5,000 sheep. It's like a life instances are there that started decomposing in the harbor's water. It threatened a lot because it may contaminate the city of Kuwait's drinking water supply, and the ship has to be raised as quickly as possible, because if that happens, it is going to cost a lot. The straightforward approach to handle this particular situation could be bringing some cranes onto the sea and then try to lift the ship. But there should be a lot of efforts involved in identifying the cranes which can handle this situation. So there was a situation, people were brainstorming what all other options are there to handle this situation. So in that situation, a person Carl Croy, he is a Danish inventor. He came up with an idea. His idea was like, there is a sinking ship, and to make it float, let's use some buoyant bodies which can make the ship float. But there is some formula behind the screens, like how much weight buoyant bodies has to be placed to make the ship float. So and how to fill the ship with that buoyant bodies. So there should be a salvage ship which should come and feed the buoyant bodies, like a ping pong balls, any rubber, plastic sort of material which can be transferred from salvage ship to this sinking ship through some pipe feeder. So that way cranes may not be required, and also it would be low cost solution. So this patent application has been submitted, but what happened during the reviews by patent office, this was not approved. Ideally, the situation was really mitigated because of this proposal. It saved lot of it was cost effective solution and handled the situation very well. But why this did not become a patent? Let's see what was the prior art. Prior art means an uh, existing art which is also proposing the similar solution. So the patent attorneys, they say this was already available. And what kind of prior art they shared? Let's see that. So there was a cartoon. If you see the cartoon, there is a Donald Duck, and along with his nephews, they are trying to. If you see in the left side image, they are trying to push some ping pong plastic ball sort of thing, and there is a feeder tube here, and that is connected to a sinking ship. It's all the cartoon story, but if you see the mechanism mentioned in figure 1 and this cartoon story almost resembling the same. There is a sinking ship, there is a salvage ship, and there is a feeder tube and ping pong balls, which are again buoyant bodies, are used to make the ship float. So this was given as prior art, the Donald Duck story, the sunken yacht. So, and this was not patented. I just took an example of physical or that we can understand easily to give a glance like how the prior arts may come into picture to like and inhibits that you may not get successful patents. But this is a physical which we can easily imagine how the patent office may reject the patents, giving some references like this. Now, in this whole story, what are the crucial aspects here? So there was a problem identified in 1964, and someone proposed a solution. He came up with some claims on how to solve this problem in a very unique and innovative way. But the similar problem was discussed somewhere in a different form. This was for fun cartoon, right? There was no sinking ship here. There was no real live Donald Duck there. These all are cartoons, but that became a prior art. So such prior arts may spoil the patent success outcome. But this is how inventors has to see if the prior art is there. We need to see how to enhance further or how to make it further novel. And now let's see the patent possibilities. So from the same example, let's see there were some input elements here. The problem was sunk freighter. There is a feeder tube. There are buoyant objects, and the objective is to raise the ship. And how they are trying to raise the ship? Plug the feeder in and push buoyant objects through the feeder. So this is the approach. Someone is trying to get a patent in few years back. So there were some inputs. This is the objective, and this is the mechanism they proposed using A and B. Okay. So there are 5 scenarios. If you see, what all can be patented is there is an input and do something uniquely, and there is an output. If do something unique, this can be patented. Or the purpose is the same, or objective is to raise the ship, but the input may vary. It's not like feeder tube or buoyant objects. For example, the crane can be used. And if crane is been used, then there is no pipe, feeder pipe required, right? There should be some chains and then crane hooks and all needed. So do something different, but still the same objective. And let's see another scenario. Input is same, feeder tube is the same, buoyant objects is the same, but raising the ship, the objective is also met, but it's not the way the image was showing. There could be a different way, but using the same input, same objective, but doing it differently. Again, this can be patented. And in another example, the input feed was reduced. So let's say only use the feeder tube, no buoyant objects. It's not meaningful, but let's assume inputs are lessened, but the same objective is achieved, then it becomes unique. And another scenario, the 5th scenario is inputs are same. User is taking the approach which was discussed in previous scenarios, but there is more output. Like not only floating the ship, there could be another side benefit also, or another output also. So that also becomes unique. But in the previous case, what happened was the Donald Duck and this proposed patent application exactly matches with input, output, and the way it's being trying to achieve. So that is how we need to see how the prior arts are exist and how to make it even further unique when we are proposing any solution. In other words, in the programming language, if we see input plus do something should be non-obvious, new or novel, then it is a possible successful patent. And what all can be patented? Usually, the everyday stuff could be related to the household things, or transportation related, or drones, or any technology related or design related. Everyday stuff can be patented. And it could be like a new component to an old mechanism. This mechanism is the same, but we are going to achieve more with the new proposed system. Then also it is eligible. A new mechanism built on old components. So these all are various ways we can try to find innovative approaches. Uh, and mechanical structures, electrical circuits, chemical compounds, everything are eligible for patenting. But there are some restrictions, like if there is any harmful inventions for public morals. If you see in the Robo movie, that issue was raised, right? The person may, the Robo may create some danger to human. Medicines related, any experiments on humans and living things against to law of nature can't be patented. And let's understand how many types of patents are possible. So once we get some understanding of the types of patents that are successful, then we will know, like maybe we get some ideas in utility patents or design patent. Plant patent is a rare scenario, but let's see. These are the three wide categories. Like these are the three categories. Everything should fall into this category when it is a patent. So utility patents are like most common type granted, like there will be a problem, there will be a technical solution, there will be an objective, and the technical solution or the scenario should be unique enough and novel enough, like the business method or chemical formula, like invention of a camera, like how it works. When you click something, it captures this frame and it will capture the photo. It's a machine or mechanism, and any from wool a sweater is being produced. It's not new now, but when it was invented long back, that was a new proposal. uh, and the plant patents are basically like seedless growth, or like when the plants were grown in a lab environment and trying to create unique colors, like hybrid rose plant with a novel color. We see regular colors, but hybrid rose may have a unique color as well. Need not be within the 12 common colors. It can be unique mixture. So the lab related artificial discoveries may align to plant patent. And I think for engineers, this is very less relevant. For coming to design patents, if someone propose a new design, for example, if you see your mobile, there will be soft corners, like the four sides of the mobile will not be an exact rectangle shape. Very, maybe few may have, but that was a patented idea. The design should not have sharp edges. The curve, how much curve it should be to have a good grip and good hold, that was patented some time back. It's a design patent. So, or the crockery, like any kitchen utensils, like uh, porcelain vessels, if there is a unique design, that can be a patented design patent category. That is also very less relevant for engineers, but for mechanical engineers, that may be a relevant one. And let's quickly see the difference between discovery and invention. I'm pretty much sure you would know that, but I just want to give some background because sometimes we get confused. What is discovery and what is invention? Let's quickly see. Discovery is nothing but like the Discovery Channel. What they do, they go and try to explore various plants, insects, animals, flowers that are available, but not known to the world so far. So they keep exploring, and then there are various channels who does this exploration part, like wild animals, tornadoes and flowers. These are like existing, but someone will discover and name it. And similarly, the elements in nature, they exist, but those were discovered. What is nitrogen property? What is carbon property? Those were discovered, but not invented. Carbon exists in nature. And when it comes to invention, it's like a synthesis of hydroxychloroquine. So this was used during COVID times in medicines, right? So what is the composition to prepare this? That is invention, because the elements are available in nature, but what composition? or how to create, how to generate, or how to prepare is a mechanism that was invented. And let's take a periodic table. We all know the periodic table of element properties in a straight table or a flat table. But later on, lot of inventions happened in a periodic table where they try to group similar elements based on their properties, attributes, and 2D, 3D periodic tables were also invented. Those were patents. And recently, I came to know patents were happening on these lines as well. So a lot of experiments and then analysis happened to group this, right? So that how they categorized, let's say if all green colors are having similar properties, for example, I'm saying because I did not went through in detail, but there is some logic behind it on categorizing all greens into one vertical, all yellows, all red into one vertical, based on the elements, properties or composition. So these are this is invented, but periodic table was not a patent. But the grouping and displaying in a 2D, 3D, how these are categorized is an invention and a patent. And it was patented by Hinsdale Bernard. And one more example I'll take as a physical that we can design related patent. So if you see here, there is a paper clip. Johan, he proposed this design in 1899 way back, patented in 1901. What he was proposing is when papers are stacked, they may fly because of the air or wind, right? So if there is a clip which can keep it hold on the table, so the design having a clip is like a bend wire or something. This is a design patent. But what happened? This was never productized. This clip was never productized because the design was good, but it was not productized because that when the paper stack is huge or paper thickness is more, it can't be used as is. So later on, some additional inventions came where there is a, if you see, there is a hole, like there is a circle here, so that the wire will have more grip to hold. If the paper is thicker or having a stack of papers, it can hold better compared to this actual patented one. So things will keep evolving. Sometimes the ones patented may not be productized, but enhancements will takes place, and this is also invented. So when we come across some patents, we can always think if we can further enhance it so that it can become another patent. And if you see in the first video, the Wright brothers, they eh, invented this, the plane, but they try to integrate the existing patents to innovate differently. To the end object is different, but there are some pieces available. They used it in with a different mechanism and made it fly. So when we come across some patents, we can keep this in mind. There is a possibility to extend it, enhance it, and get an additional patent. And if you see this patent, how this was successful, this person, how he wrote the bold ones, if you read, he himself, this inventor, he or she, themselves mentioning why bent wire paper clips are now in common use, but they are not having enough grip, increasing their grip pressure as the thickness of the stack of paper is increased. So this person is talking what is the drawback in the existing system and what it cannot handle. And now he is proposing a mechanism to have an additional bend which can give more grip. So the primary object of the present invention resides in the provision of a new and improved expandable bent wire capable of increasing its gripping pressure as the thickness of the stack of paper is increased. So this is a very small example we all can easily understand, but the reason I'm trying to explain is the explanation take it to patent. Just telling I want to invent another clip which can better work, that won't be a successful patent. But this, the way it was phrased, it was explained, it was claimed, that became unique, and then it became a successful patent. So idea might be same, but how we present and how we write the claims, and specifically in software world, how we write the claims matters a lot in conveying the novelty. Uh, any questions, madam, or shall I take the questions later?
we do take the questions in the question and answer, madam. Otherwise, if any participants require, they will try to put it on chat, ma'am. I will
Okay,
let
madam.
you. Okay.
Sure. Sure, madam. So we'll take one more example. This example I want to quote to understand how ideas can trigger. So basically to innovate, we need some ideas, but ideas, how it can trigger you or a person to invent. Let's take this small example. So the background of this patent is this is a toddler cup. We might have seen these kids are using at home or relatives' home or friends' home, right? So the background is a person went to his friend's place, and the friend's place they had small baby at home, and while having milk from the bottle, it was completely spill over on sofa, floor, everywhere, because the kid was sipping and then leaving and then again sipping and leaving, so that the milk was spread across the house. Then this person thought, yeah, it's a baby's nature, right? They may drink or they may not drink. It's all according to their mood and all. So can some milk bottle can be designed in such a way that if baby sips it, then only milk should come out, milk or any beverage or any water or whatever. But if kid is not sipping, it should not spill over. He was thinking to solve a problem that his friend is facing with their baby. So he designed this mouthpiece. This proposal talking about there is a container which has a bend here, and it will have a small hole or small vent. If there is some particular pressure only, it will open and the liquid will come out. And this pressure was designed in such a way that a baby's sucking pressure is good enough to make the milk come out, or water come out whenever the baby try to sip it. So this is the vertical design, and this is the overall design. So this became patent at that point of time because it was not there before, and the design was so unique, and it was designed in such a way the baby can take milk or water whenever required. There is no problem. But when it was left there or fell down, but liquid won't come out. So this is a patented idea. And on similar lines, in vehicles, in cars, cup holder was a patented idea. And this is a Pierce accounting machine. This was the first patent by IBM. In other words, a typewriter also you can call. When fingers were clicked, how the letters will be printed on the paper. It's the punching card sort of a machine invented. Now we'll see how a patent will be qualified, will be a successful patent. Essentially a technical solution which solves a technical problem. So far we have heard like a design patents or non-mechanical patents or non-software patents. But when it comes to software patents, the important aspects is the problem statement and the solution should have a technical aspect added to that. For example, in the first video, the autonomous vehicle, that is a software patent. Why? Because uh, the autonomous vehicle is running based on some programming. It's an autonomous vehicle, right? Everything will be automatically handled. But when there is a need for human intervention, it is detecting. Could be a bump which it never faced. The autonomous vehicle never saw before, or it was not trained in its model. For example, there is a particular signboard which was recently or newly introduced and what was not part of the autonomous vehicle training part, train data. So then it will detect, no, I don't know this signboard. Let's leave it to the human driving part. So that conversion, that flip, it is all detecting, right? So that is a software patent. And the metros working on its own. These all are software patents. And so if someone says autonomous vehicle is there and it will detect automatically when human intervention is needed, that is not at all enough. It should have a technical approach, not an abstract. It should have a technical approach, the feasible steps. What are the connecting points? What happens at what place? For example, the autonomous vehicle programming should be quoted, similar to the paperclip. The autonomous vehicle programming, there will be some programming, right? So what is not covered in the existing programming? Under what circumstances it will detect the human intervention requirement, and how it will detect, under what scenarios it will detect, and then how it will hand over, and how it will take it back from the human driving part. Maybe like the person might be driving, but later at some point, the autonomous vehicle can say, I can take over, leave it to me, right? So how this can be done, that has to be called out. Then it becomes novel. Otherwise, it will become like imaginary thing. Let's say I'll close my eyes, I will vanish here, I'll come to Gayatri College. These all are like imaginary, fictional, right? No, no. We should always say how, what algorithms we will use, what are the inputs to that, what is the methodology involved, what is the objective. The technical piece should be included, and the technical piece or the objective should be novel, non-obvious, and it should be feasible. And we'll take few more examples, like how the patent attorney will see or patent office will see when someone submits an idea. We'll take an example. When there is a traffic jam or a traffic signal, when we are stuck in traffic, we may feel like I want to fly and cross the junction or reach home. Car should fly. Let's say the person is driving in a car, he may feel like I should fly and then cross this junction. But sounds novel, right? Like car flying, we don't see unless in some movies or in cartoons. Generally, we don't see car is flying. Car is not designed to fly. So it is novel and non-obvious, but is it implementable? No, practically not, because the car should have some runway, because to lift the car, there should be some pressure built, and then there should be a runway, like we see how aeroplanes are designed. There should, or helicopter, helipad should be there to land. These all are prerequisites to make some vehicle fly and then land. So it is not implementable. And let's see another idea. Accidentally dropped a phone. This is a common problem we generally see, like unknowingly it may fell down from our hands. So because the phone is dropping, someone may think when it is dropping, if it reduces its weight, then the fall will not be that severe, right? Because if it is lightweight, it can float, or it can just uh, land on the floor instead of having a severe impact or damage on the glass or the device. Sounds good, because if phone weight can be reduced, damage can be definitely reduced. But is it implementable? Some parachute sort of thing should come from phone, and then should make it lightweight, because otherwise weight can't be reduced simply unless there is a floating object supporting it. So practically come parachute from the phone, not so practical. So though it sounds good, it is not implementable. Let's take third example. I reach a friend's place and he's not at home. So then we may think, okay, there should be an app so that I will know whether he is at home or not, or she is at home or not. It is not at all novel, because we can call them before starting, like, I'm coming to your home, are you at home? Then they may say, yes, please come, or we are going out, let's meet tomorrow. So this can be solved simply. No technology is required to solve this problem. So this is not novel. And it's also obvious, when we go to someone's place, we generally call them to figure out whether they are at home or they prefer to meet somewhere else. So that it's not at all novel. And the fourth scenario, difficult to follow geography class about Antarctic desert without experiencing it. For example, kids are taking virtual classes, for example, and they may say, we are not getting good experience of when someone is talking about the desert environment, they can't really feel how hot it would be, how the sandy floor will be. How they can't imagine easily. They can see the images, but they won't get the feel. So we may think like a virtual reality can solve the problem, where someone wears some VR glasses. It can give them a good feel of how the desert will be, and the climate will be. But in many malls now we are seeing VR cricket also, where by wearing some glasses in play zone or kids zone, these all are available. So this is also not novel because this was invented long back. When VR glasses are used, the person will feel like he is in 3D world. So this is also not novel. But these are some instances where we can find the problems, but the solutions we are identifying whether novel or not. We can do such checklist to filter out or to further enhance. And so how do we get ideas that can be a patent worthy? Let's take some scenario. Let's say a person woke up and get ready and they may do carpooling and then they want to reach office or they want to reach college, for example. So this is a very simple scenario. Someone will get up. This is very common day-to-day thing anyone will do who are studying or who are working or who are going to school. But is there a scope to invent in this scenario? Like, let's say, wake up at 6, reach college by 8, for example. In these 2 hours, do we get any situations where we can invent? Let's take some examples. Let's say someone wake up by an alarm or a spam call. It has a difference, right? When it is an alarm, it's okay. But if it is a spam call, we get disturbed and then that day will not be that smooth because they may, if it is a spam call, unnecessary, like banking, credit card related information, or someone want to unnecessarily disturb us. So if there is a way we can identify whether it's a spam call or alarm, that will definitely helpful for the person. So if it is a spam call in morning 6 a.m., why should it even ring? Because the person wants to wake up in a good mood rather with unnecessary call. So in the morning, even before the alarm time, for example, alarm time is 6 and we got a call at 5:30, for example, don't even ring it because the person chose to wake up at 6, right? But there may be some emergency calls we need to attend. Then can we have a filter? Like if it is before the alarm time, only allow the calls who are in my contact list. Can we? It's a possibility, right? Like it's a unique way because the phone doesn't know whom to allow, whom doesn't allow. But we can configure if a call comes before the alarm time, allow it to ring only if it is in my contacts list, or allow only the limited members, only the family members. So we can think like if someone get a spam call, let's think on these lines. Can I stop the spam call because I don't want to wake up with that ring? Okay. And this small programming can control whom we want to receive the call from whom we don't want to receive the call. And this is a good thinking process, but are there any prior arts exist? Yes, there are some prior arts like suspected spam will be highlighted. We can use Truecaller. If it is not in our contact list, we can easily identify and don't lift the call or don't allow to ring. So the thought process is good, but the prior arts are there. But this is a small example, but there could be many scenarios like you may be in the lab, network connectivity issues are there. What else we could do or how we can improve the network connectivity? These are different venues. I will tell you some examples once we reach the last point. So now get ready. So once a person get ready, want to go and catch a bus or go to college by walk, for example. But there is a possibility that potholes might be there on the road, but if it is raining, it may not be visible. So is there a way to identify if there are any new potholes on my way from home to college? Um, so we have a location GPS thing available, but there was no information about potholes. So can that be added to GPS? So it can take the person to the required destination in a safe way. Either they are walking or by bike, it can take him to the destination without any hurdles. So along GPS gives us the information about traffic congestion, but not the road condition. So that's one additional thing that can be added to this. Looks like there are prior arts, but this is how we can think. Let's say let's say if a person is trying to connect with a person and go together to college or office, but if there is a traffic jam, there is a delay, that person can't come and meet you on time. So is there a way to indicate without any explicit calls, can we know if the person is going to come late or stuck in traffic jam? We can track the friend location. So there are apps where if you want to meet someone, let's say you go to the new place, you don't know the routes, then you can have a friend tracker enabled so that they will be tracking. For example, Ola or Uber also, we can track how we are going, whether it's slow or fast, or the route is changed by any means. These all are possible. So those are already invented, but these are all the problems those inventors found and solved and got patents. So let's say we know the GPS and location sharing is available, but let's say you are already in college, but there may be different labs or different wings or different floors. So if someone calls you, they want to meet you, generally you may say like, please come and meet me near HOD office or near computer lab, like that. But if the person is new to the college, is there a way to share the GPS, not only the location, the position also? Position means not only the building location, the floor and lab location also. Is it possible? So will it be unique? You can think that way. These all are software patents. Let's say the pothole road condition information, there is a lot of tech stack involved because uh, the road condition has to be processed through image capturing frequently. For example, there are CC cameras on the road. Example I'm telling it, India is yet to come to that level where CC cameras are everywhere. But if let us assume the CC cameras are there, it can have the images history. Yesterday, how the road was there, and now the climate is changed, like it's heavily raining, and some potholes, like some lids on the road, the repair work is going on. It can keep capturing the images. That images has to be processed and then differentiate the image from yesterday versus today. And if there is any new object identified which is similar to pothole, so image matching is needed, image comparison is needed, and alerting mechanism is needed. So though it looks like physical observation, but the software has to be involved. Even the GPS works on the coordinates, how the coordinates are measured, how the relative positions are measured. So these all are software related solutions. Another aspect we need to understand is how to find new patents. So let's say now we feel patents are possible to everyone because we know the methodology, we know the checklist, it should be novel, non-obvious, and implementable. But how do I know the problems? Where to start? So for that question, we can take two approaches. One is like pick an area and brainstorm. For example, pick an area is like you like watching movies on TV, or you like cricket, or you like sports. So take any area that you are very interested and try to identify what are the existing gaps, uh, and then try to solve them uniquely. Any area you pick that you are passionate about or you feel like you have more knowledge, and try to brainstorm if there are any gaps which are not solved and we can solve. So that is one approach. Another approach is uh, pick a problem. Pick a problem like in the way the earlier example, the potholes or the spam calls. That is a problem someone experienced and they try to solve it so differently. I want to take the last one example. Like I could not do work from home today. This happened to me. Like when we started working from home since 2 years during the pandemic situation. So we used to collaborate a lot when we were in office, but now during work from home, we got new challenges because it's a virtual connectivity, and sometimes background noise, sometimes power cut. So once we started seeing the problems, we explored this virtual meetings related space. What are the existing patterns? What are the existing solutions? Can we innovate differently? What was achievable when we were in office versus what are the limitations or impediments we have while working virtually? So when we try to sort them, we identified a couple of areas that can be improved, and few patents were applications were submitted, waiting for them to be granted. But previously, we never thought the virtual working for these long, so we did not know that problem. Now we came to know the problem last year. We explored that area, we learned together, we did some homework and got some patents, submitted some patent applications. It may take some time to get the grant, but we felt good when once we started seeing a different problem, got different idea. So in my 16 years of software experience, in last 2 years, I started thinking differently because of the virtual collaboration was more and more. So keep seeing such situations that may happen around you, and then try to see if there is any technology piece that can be added to solve it. And the first criteria, I do have small example, but I'm not sure how relevant it may be for you. But the area that I had chosen was I wanted my home kitchen to be even smarter, because I spend some 2 hours a day at least in kitchen. So when I was spending in kitchen, I was thinking, can we do more instead of having the regular fridge or regular oven? Then I got some ideas. I don't know any problem initially, but I tried to find if there are any gaps with the existing systems. Then I thought some enhancements, and then those were also applied, waiting for grants. These happened in last 2 years because of more working from home. The kitchen area I chose, and then virtually connecting part I chose. Like the first criteria, more time spent in kitchen, and second is more time spent on virtually. So what helps is definitely brainstorm with experienced people or colleagues or peers, and then your contents and your guides, professors, that will greatly help to see different perspective from the same problem statement. And from my experience, what I felt was like whenever we are drafting an application, though we know a lot about the idea, but how we present it. That paperclip example, if you see how they presented, that made it different. That made it novel, and that took them to having a successful patent. So always clearly document and do enough research whether it is already available. If it is already available, how to enhance or expand the scope, think on those lines, and ensure there is a feasible methodology that can make it achievable, and documentation, and emphasize on the novelty part of the idea. So these are the couple of things we need to keep in mind to have successful patents. There is one example or learning people says about software patents are like, sometimes let's say there is a solution, a system is able to transform a particular data set into a different format. Let's say there is an invention, data set A is there, the methodology is converting into data set B. It's a different format in a unique way. That, let's say, that is the crux of their patent, for example, for their patent application, for example. It can't go to a successful patent, because what is that methodology? How many systems are involved in transforming? Is it a source system converting? Is it a target system converting it? So all the interactive devices or interactive systems that are involved in achieving data set A to data set B, all has to be called out so thoroughly in a detailed way. Instead of telling it high level, every aspect has to be called out properly, how they are connected, how the data is transformed, what we are going to do with data set B, what was the drawback with data set A. So these all should be called out in the documentation very thoroughly. And a couple of quotations that inspired me, I thought just to share with you, because in the patenting world, the general problem I keep hearing was like how to find ideas, where to start, how to enhance. So the two quotations that motivated me was like, innovation is seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. So problems are around us, but we may not notice. For example, I mentioned about the virtual communication. Till 2019, we haven't seen that was a problem. But once we started work from home from 2020, understood, okay, this problem still there. This problem can be enhanced. This problem can be solved this way. So that's how once we start seeing the problems. And there is a way to do it better, find it. This is from Thomas Edison. So always there will be a better approach to solve the problem. And I just want to give one more example. My favorite example, actually, my first ever patent application. It was, so 6 years back, I bought a car, which is a small one, Alto 800. This small, simple one. I learned newly, and then I started driving with a elbow on it. I was comfortable driving from home to office, which is having a straight road, like you all know Vizag Beach Road is having no traffic. It was like a very um, uh, soothing experience when we travel on that road, right? So I was good at driving that way, but when it comes to fuel filling or air filling, I was not good at, because driving in a petrol bunk it was little difficult for me in the new few days of started driving. So that time I heard about innovation in my company, and I was thinking, okay, this is my problem statement. I am not good at taking good turnings or sharp cuts and go to petrol bunk to get the fuel fill. Fuel filling is mandatory, but can there be a solution where we can avoid going to fuel station or air filling station? So I was thinking, is there a better way to do this? Can I avoid going to air station to get it air filled, or some things were running in my mind. And I expressed the same with my friends, and they felt like it was a funny thing because they never faced it. They said, driving is not that difficult, practice it, you will get it, something like that. So there was fun. Then but still I did not stop. I was trying to see, is there a way, when the tires are rotating on the road, can it auto create the air within itself, so that I don't need to go to aid station, so that I can avoid one of the problem I was facing? So I told this to one of the mechanical engineering background friend. Then he said, yeah, we can't rule it out. It might be possible. Please think, please do some more researches on torque, friction, rotational forces. So something, he gave me some jargons to further dig into that. Then I did some searches, and then some analysis and some research. It's like a play. Go to Google and try to find these. I tried it, and I found an exact patent which is talking about similar problem, similar solution. So it was a happy moment for them, for me, because my idea was a patent worthy. I was little late in buying my car or identifying the problem statement, but few years back, someone invented on the same lines. So my thought process was correct, but I was little late in identifying the problem statement, or the in knowing the ideation. I was not knowing it, the ideation part before, but I came to know, and my thought process was a successful patent sometime back. So that boosted me up. By the time I got driving very well, and I don't, that was no more my problem statement, because I got my driving well. But I learned a lot during that thought process when I was evaluating my uh, problem statement, and then how to achieve it. And when I talked to my friends, they also felt good. Okay, is it a problem statement? How did you do the searches? What was your findings when you try to explore the mechanical things, something? So it was a very good learning. So if someone starts seeing the things around you differently, there is a scope, there would be scope for patents for sure. And these are some resources related to software patents, where I generally search for existing prior arts and all. And yeah, I'm happy to take if there are any questions.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I request the students to post the questions. Yeah, ma'am. In the chat, one of the student posted a question, Mr. Jeshwant Solanki. I'm working on underground drone, and I would like to file a patent for it. Can you please throw on, guide me, ma'am. I mean, he's asking that can we go for it? Underground drone.
Yeah, very interesting, madam. Hi, Jeshwant. Nice to, I hope he's a student. If it is a professor, sorry. Uh, Glad to read this question. And yeah, I never heard a drone flying underground. Definitely can do some searches if it is already there. If it is already there, on how to enhance, because the drone flying mechanism may be based on the air lift and drift, I suppose. But underground, the air pressure and the circumstances will be completely different. So if the drone is flying on the air, what is the problem to fly in underground? Highlight what would be the problem to use the same mechanism. So there is a mechanism which made it fly in the air, right? So why the same mechanism will not be helpful when it goes underground? Think of that. And if that mechanism is unique, and because the drones can go underground, what is the objective? What we can solve? Like maybe the manholes where the person can't enter, drone can enter. I suppose that would be the context of this comment. So highlight on the problems, or why the same mechanism can't be deployed for underground. Highlight that. I like this idea.
Thank you, ma'am. He wants to do it on for India-China border, ma'am, it seems.
Very interesting defense scope. So there may be more legal aspects added to that, but please give an attempt. It might help a lot. But please see if there are already prior arts available on that aspect. If there are no prior arts, it's a very good idea to pursue.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have some two questions.
Yes,
Can I proceed? Yeah.
yes, Shivkumar Gar, please proceed, sir.
Yes. Actually, we have different kinds of patterns, that Indian pattern, Australian pattern. So, if you are bringing some novel idea, then where we can apply, whether we can go for Indian pattern, which pattern is highly
Valuable, or
yes.
Yeah, very good question, sir, because you rightly said, like the patent approvals depends on the geographical limitations. For example, European countries will always have more and more restrictions. So which means a patent that was successful in US need not be successful in EU, because European zones, their legal terms are UK and EU, their legal terms are very, very strict. So if the idea is very creative and very groundbreaking, it is always good to go for international patent application. So international patent application means there will be some countries signed to that category. For example, I don't know the exact number, but international category will have, let's say, 10 countries or 10 regions associated to that. So those 10 countries will review and approve if it is internationally qualified one or not. And coming to India patents, the first step is always good to go within India. I feel that way. And we have NRDC, where National Research Development Corporation is there in Rishikonda. They are encouraging to get Indian patents. I have a format that they shared with me sometime back. But as an employee, I should abide to my company rules. So I always went for US patents, but it is possible to get in India as well. So based on the idea, for example, India, China, Jeshwant mentioned like India, China related problem, he wants to solve it, right? It's good to go for India. India Patent Office rather US Patent Office, because it will become international problem where India may support it, but US may not support it. So due diligence on which is more appropriate. But if there are ideas which can be more generic, where we can get royalty rights, for example, software patents, it's good to go for international patents, because now software is all over. If we just do in India, we will not get royalty rights if someone deploys it in US. So it's a little context based, sir, but we have option in India, Vizag, to submit a patent application.
And another question.
Madam, Selila
Again,
garu,
Yes, sir.
am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can
yes,
hear
sir, yes,
you.
sir, please.
Yeah. Um, Typically, I could see majority of the patents are not being commercialized. I
Okay.
see that was the major drawback. Maybe there are several reasons. Can you just to give me an idea? For example, IBM has few thousands of patents. Maybe you are holding for your purpose. What is the percentage of the patents granted versus commercialized?
Uh, sure, sir. This is very good question, sir. Because even we always see such metrics. Because once we get the grants, it should be either productized or commercialized, or we will also see for cross licensing. Cross licensing means, for example, sir, IBM is not into social media as such. What I mean is, Facebook is a social platform. LinkedIn is a social platform, right, sir? Twitter is a social platform. So IBM has cross-license agreement with the Twitter and LinkedIn, which means IBM sells the patents to them and they productize. So it's like the productization or commercialization is by Twitter, but it will pay IBM behind the screens because it bought it from IBM. So cross-licensing is one aspect, sir. But productizing commercialization for the autonomous vehicle, uh, IBM sell it to their partners. If Tesla or someone are their partners, they can do in a collaborative way. So that is how companies sees the patents, sir. So the percentage of productization, commercialization will be very good number, sir, because IBM has 1,50,000 patents and it's a consecutive 28th year on the top patent producing company. So it has collaboration with Apple. Behind the screens, they do that collaboration and productize them. Which means we may see Apple logo on something, but behind the scenes that could be a IBM patent, but internally they pay. It's a cross licensing.
In fact, I own 3 patents, but unfortunately, we could not commercialize none of them.
Wonderful, sir, to know 3 patents. Sir,
And
those are in software, sir, like
pardon?
those are on software, sir. May I know the context of those patents, sir?
One is ranking. You can search in net Lakshmanara's number. In fact, I invented a new number
Oh,
for
sir, nice.
for ranking. In fact,
Okay,
I'll explain in a couple of minutes here. Let other audience also will get benefited.
sure,
Suppose
sir.
you have a class A and class B students. Class A first ranker is 90%. Class B first ranker is 87%. Take a typical example. Class B person who got a first ranker, for example, moved to class A. Then what happens to his rank? His rank is last. Do you agree, Madam Sailaja, on that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Correct.
Correct.
Then do you agree now my statement? Rank is not based on the marks. Yes or no?
Sir, it's a relative term. Yes, sir.
That means when the ranks are not on the marks, and what are the parameters that we take for the ranking system? This was what my idea. And I made all the ranks in between 0 to 1.
Okay, sir.
And any student who comes in section A, B, C, etc., will fall in 0 to 1 rank
Okay, sir.
in a decimal form, not in integer form. That way this problem was solved, and it was in fact it is Lakshmanarayana's number. Yeah, I made like that. US
Okay.
agreed it filed in US only.
Great, sir.
Another patent we filed on, in fact, against Google, in fact, I filed a patent. The Google takes a particular damping factor as 0.85 for every page. I think you may be knowing LaPage's statement.
Correct, sir. Okay, sir.
He takes 0.85 as a damping factor. He did not give any reason why he has taken it. I have not taken any damping factor in my computation. but still I could get less number of iterations, more accuracy than Google for a set of nearly 60,000 pages, not more than that. In fact, we sent all these things to Google. In fact, we fought in a US court also in this, but we could not win this case against Google in way back in 2010 or so, 11 or so. This is one. Another one also we filed for the number of, I made another patent related to the ranking system. In case you take, suppose you have some ABC parameters, you are ranking on ABC. Suppose a D parameter is added for ranking system, you need to recalculate ranks for all the people. Whereas I made a special formula where it is not required. These are the brief introduction about my patents, madam. Thank you.
Very interesting one,
Thank you
sir.
for patience listening.
Thank you, sir. It's very interesting and very nice to know, sir. Like this way of, like, in fact, introducing a new number, it's a not small thing, like Aryabhatta. It's a new
Oh,
number.
don't say like that. But US agreed for this number. You can search in the net, you can get it.
Sure, sir. Definitely, I wish to read and understand, sir. Sir, here it's a commercialized means. So some US patent office might have supported for your case, right, sir?
So what happened is, see, I worked in government. Now I am retired. When the government policies in India are little different, when few people approach the government, they calculate my salaries and all these things. It went very huge number, the figure. The company said that we cannot pay that much. During
Okay.
bargain, they asked me, I said, somehow we need to commercialize. Particularly at that point of a time, the mobile market is coming and my application, my program is less than 100 lines code in C. I thought it is faster to do for the mobile browsers typically.
Okay,
I
sir.
thought to sell it out, but unfortunately it could not work because I worked in government, honestly speaking. Had I
Okay.
been in private, it would have been commercialized.
Okay, okay, sir. So, okay, this is an interesting point, sir. But it's very like good to know these your experience, sir. It's a learning for me.
It's yes, sir. It's a wonderful, sir. It's a wonderful thing to be known to all the audience also, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir
Madam,
Shivakumar garu,
last-
yeah, another. Yeah.
sorry,
Thank you, Sailaja garu.
Thank you, sir.
madam, actually, most of the Indian patents are, I think they are closed within the patent publication level itself. Very few patents, maybe very negligible number of patents are went into the grant level. May
Okay,
know
sir.
how to convert that publication level to grant level.
Sir, may I know if your applications are going through a patent office or directly? If it is through patent office, sir, I met few of my friends are in NRDC. They told me that they will give detailed explanation why it became publication rather a grant. So,
Actually,
compared.
recently I have got 3 patent publications.
Okay, sir.
Maybe
Okay.
last month I have got 3 patent publications. But I don't know how to move that publication into grant level. That's what I was talking.
Okay, sir. So, maybe the claims they felt not detailed or the purpose, like I mentioned 5 scenarios, right, sir? Like 5 scenarios will take us to successful patents. Maybe if they feel any of the scenario is not documented well, or maybe that idea is crowded space. Like from my experience, I'm telling, sir, I too have some publications. I thought those may get grant, but they converted into publication. My learning from those were, sir, those are like crowded space or not having a great business value or not having great contribution to solve a problem. For example, sir, if there is an alternate way which is less costlier or cheaper, then the companies may not like to invest technology overhead, which may lead to expensive or costly solution. So maybe the idea may be good enough, great enough, and substantially novel. But there is also another aspect when it comes to productization or commercialization. Maybe if they feel it's a technology overhead, then also may not go to grant levels. That was one of my learning. I'm happy to see your 3 publications, sir, if you're okay. And uh, maybe if my experience aligns here, or it may be new learning for me, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, madam. Actually, maybe I thought of thinking that the feasibility of our patent, maybe they issue with converting into product. Maybe I thought of thinking on that way, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable inputs.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for the question and answer session. Now, I request one of our senior volunteers of our section to share the views. History, sir, or Sivakumar Garu, any one of them.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Saraja, madam, you have rightly said the ideas comes when we think of. So it's a beginning. The problem has to be identified, and everyone in the panelist or attendees, everyone has an idea, but they fail to prove that, or maybe they fail to go for the publication, or maybe they doesn't know how to approach it. So in this scenario, you can you have given an input like NRDC in the Vizag that they can approach. It's a very interesting thing for our participants also. And adding to that, every person has a journey. I also have a journey of patenting my idea, and I went to the third party where they took some money and they filed it. After filing 1.5 year, they told that you can go for the patent, as it is claimed that no one has claimed the same invention. Then again, the same thing, I have to go through third party or NRDC. Again, I approached to the NRDC. They said that we have filed through the third party now, so you go this patent through third party, not with us, because they know better to get it granted. So that's how there is a what you call a guiding force is missing in the Indian people, so we miss that, I think. About your lecture, it's like you're calm and cool. It's seen in the presentation, but like children or students, we listen to you till your last words, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
to listen you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Christy, sir, to present his vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, madam. So yes, I firstly thank our section chair, S. Lakshminarayan Garu, who is the driving force to us in organizing all these events and initiating the things. Even we stop as an